exciting and interesting. And we have our Challah crew who give us inspiration, like Yafa. Please come here. Hello. If you want, here's Yafa, her phone, the diva in the kitchen. And I think you're the inspiration for this challah recipe. So over the summer months, Yafa and I and her daughter Rosie, and sometimes my daughter Hindi, we talk about different recipes and we discuss which ones to choose for the coming season. I want to thank Sari. She's on our group as well. And welcome, Lynn. Thank you for joining. And so I think it was Yafa's idea for this recipe. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what inspired this idea? Was it pina colada or what was it?
Just like changing flavors. So every time it's like an adventurous one for the family. We usually make it like once a week and we do the whole recipe and we freeze some of them. So it's just nice to have like a little surprise of getting new flavors every time. Since we're running out of flavors, so thinking of something, and you know, something that we like coconut, and why not a little liquor inside it? You know, we'll make everyone happy, and the combination just makes a happy marriage. So, trying to make a topping that the coconut would glue on top, that would be part. That was another thing that we're thinking at. So we're gonna hopefully surprise you right now. So Dinie's gonna start making one.
Okay, so because some of these ingredients are quite interesting, I thought that maybe we could discuss a little bit about some of the ingredients. So the first ingredient that I want to talk about is rum. So I'm not much of an alcohol connoisseur. I'm like a water type of person. And so I don't know much about it. So I went to Hampton Liquor in Palm Beach, and my luck, there was a gentleman there who, it was his first day working there. And he's a chef in New York, and he moved down. And so he overheard me asking the woman which rum would be the best rum for baking. And she gave me Bacardi Gold. And I could tell that he was like listening to our conversation. And he's like, well, actually, anytime anyone asks me which rum to use for baking, I say Myers rum. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with the chef. And I got Myers rum, original dark. Now, in terms of kosher, any rum is kosher as long as it's just rum. It can't be spiced rum or all different kinds of rum, but it has to be like original plain rum. Those rums are kosher. That's very important when you're cooking with alcohol, especially. It has to be very, very high quality. So Bacardi Gold would be fine as well, but Myers rum is a good quality, a really good quality. So any alcohol you use needs to be really good quality. So in our recipe, we're using this Myers rum. Okay, come join us, ladies. Come around, please. Okay, now the next ingredient that I wanted to show you is the shredded coconut. So this is just like shredded coconut flakes. Ladies, come join us here. Talking to both of you. So the coconut flakes, and I toasted them, okay? Now, I toasted them in one oven. It toasted for 15, 20 minutes. But this morning, when I toasted another batch, it was 10 minutes. So it really depends on your oven. And so therefore, you need to check your coconut every 5 minutes because it can burn like that, okay? And then Yafa told me about this coconut. They're coconut chips, actually, at Trader Joe's. And I toasted those. So you can use either flakes or chips, okay?
And they're both unsweetened.
Yeah. Yes, everything in this recipe is natural, original, unsweetened, okay? The sweetness comes from the sugar, not from the manufacturer, okay? So everything needs to be unsweetened. Thank you. I think it says that in the recipe, I hope. Excellent, perfect. Thank you for mentioning that. Now, another ingredient, which is in the caramel, is coconut milk. And when I was in Trader Joe's yesterday, I noticed coconut cream. Now the caramel Yafa sent the caramel recipe to me, and then I added rum to this recipe. It's a vegan recipe. It's a 3-ingredient caramel recipe, and it's something that you could use on anything. You can use it on fruit, on ice cream, especially with the topping. So this topping for the challah is perfect for ice cream or any other sundaes that you're making or whatever it is. Anytime you need a caramel that's vegan, this should be the caramel that you're going for. And of course, you can always add some rum. So if you're making the caramel for the challah, I suggest the milk because you want it a little bit drippy. You don't want it too thick like you would use like on ice cream. But the coconut cream you could use as well. It would probably thicken faster. But for this recipe, we're going to use milk. Let's see if there's any other ingredients that would require. Okay, here, this is the coconut milk that I use. Okay, I don't know if I like it because it's a pretty bottle, but this is the one Khalifa Farms that I use. And when I was looking up a little bit about rum, I noticed a few things that were quite interesting. Actually, rum is really good for your heart. Who knew? It prevents heart disease. So ladies, drink up, drink up. Obviously it reduces anxiety and it helps with you, right? And also something that I read that was interesting is that when you use alcohol in any recipe and you don't know how much to use, you can look at the alcohol as an extract. So as much vanilla or almond or lemon extract that you would put in a cake, in this case, we put in a lot more. We put in 2.5 tablespoons into the glaze and 3/4 of a cup into the dough. In general, when you're using something like rum, you could alternate it for extract. And like I said, quality matters, and it's very important to use good quality. So what is rum? I'm like, okay, I Googled it. I'm like, what exactly is rum? So it's fermented sugarcane, molasses, beet sugar, or other type of non-fruit sugar, and it's produced in a barrel. Okay, so that's rum. Who knew? Okay, so let's begin. Does anyone have any questions? The coconut oil, very important, is that it's unrefined coconut oil, because the unrefined coconut oil actually has the taste of coconut. The refined coconut oil is bland. So if you really want that taste of coconut, you need to use unrefined. So it's unrefined, it's unsweetened coconut flakes, and I think that's about it. This is the challah. This is the way the challah looks. It looks actually a little darker on the screen, but we have the challah with the caramel glaze and toasted flakes on top. And we'll try it soon, okay? I actually like to serve it warm, so I'm gonna put it in the warmer for now, but this is the challah. Okay. Okay. Moving right along. Okay. Anyone come join us. Everyone come. Anyone have any questions? No? Okay. So now that we went through all the ingredients, okay. Oh, there's one other ingredient that we're using light brown sugar in the caramel. But I was in Trader Joe's yesterday and I noticed this organic coconut sugar. So you could theoretically use the coconut sugar in the caramel if you want more of a coconut taste. But what's interesting is when you hear the title of the recipe, like coconut caramel rum, you think, oh my goodness, I don't like coconut, or I don't like rum. But the truth is that it's very balanced, you know, the taste, aside from obviously the coconut that's on top, and because it's unsweetened, I think it's very balanced. The taste is very balanced. No taste like hits you, okay? Now in terms of the rum, when I made the recipe, I put in a half a cup of rum. And when we were tasting it, Myra, thank you for tasting, we felt that perhaps Myra felt that there was enough rum and I felt not. So we added another quarter cup. So like all of our First Fridays recipes, you can really tailor it to yourself. So if you do want more rum, put 3/4 of a cup of rum. If you want less rum, put a half a cup. Same thing in the caramel sauce. If you want more, put in 2.5 tablespoons. If less, 2. You can work with it. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I think we're going to begin. Okay, so I'm going to do this quickly. Okay.
I do have one question because
Questions. I love questions. Yes, Karen.
Is the rum in the dough now?
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yes. So 3/4 of a cup. Here, the recipe is here.
Okay.
And our blessing card is there too, because we're going to make a blessing. Let me check on the dough. Woo, woo. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to, the ladies in house are going to start shaping their challah. And while they're shaping, I will demo the recipe with you all. Okay. So here is the challah. Woo. I actually put it in the oven, a closed oven that had been previously on, because I wanted to I wanted to accelerate the rising process. But here's the dough. Oh, it's a nice dough. Yeah, it's good. I can't tell what's in here. One would never know. One thing about the alcohol is that it really doesn't. It does bake out, but not completely. So you could get drunk technically on this challah. So, but hey, you know what? At least you know beforehand. And especially since I put the rum in the caramel after I take the pot off the oven, off the stovetop. I want to retain that alcohol and that rum flavor. So, since we all know that this is not a baking class, that this is a challah class. Right. And challah is a spiritual experience. Challah connects us women to all the way over 3,000 years ago to our mother, Sarah. And so for thousands and thousands of years, Jewish women are baking challah. And from Lador Vador, from generation to generation. And that's one of the things that I really feel connects us. Aside from the other 2 mitzvot that are special mitzvot for women, lighting Shabbat candles is also something that I feel that connects us to previous generations, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, all the way to our patriarchs, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, as well as family purity, bringing up children in a Jewish way, in a Jewish home, and challah. And so when we bake challah, since it is a spiritual experience, and since it's a biblical commandment, it says it in the Torah to take a piece of challah off of your dough and to give it as a tithe to the priest in the temple. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a temple, but we still keep this mitzvah, which is really incredible because there's so many mitzvot that don't pertain to us at this moment, because we don't live in the times of Mashiach. We don't live in the times of the temple. We're not in Israel. It really doesn't. It's pertained to us, God willing, when Mashiach comes. But this is a mitzvah that, although we don't have a temple, we're not living in Jerusalem, we still do this mitzvah. And I think that when, God willing, when Mashiach comes, it's just going to be so natural for us to take the dough and send it over to the temple and just do the mitzvah of challah. So because it's a spiritual experience and it's an important mitzvah specifically for women, it's an important time to pray. Just like when we light Shabbat candles, right? It's a timely time to pray, to connect with Hashem, and to pray for what we need for ourselves, our family, our loved ones, Klal Yisrael, and the Jewish nation and the world. It's a time when we we contemplate, we meditate, we think about what we want to pray for and who needs a blessing. And so this is a special time, just like when we light Shabbat candles is a special time, Challah is also a very, very special time. And so like I've said in the past, a lot of times when somebody is in need of something, a special blessing, and 40 women will get together and pray for that person, because what the mitzvah of Challah can accomplish is incredible. And so that's why one of the other reasons why we get together and we make Challah once a month at least, because we want to be able to have the opportunity to pray for those in need. And we have seen beautiful miracles over the years from our Challah group and our Tehillim group. So I took off a piece. You take a piece off about the size of an egg, a little more about like that, and cover it with silver foil. But before that, let's make the blessing. So we have blessing cards. I'll just take one blessing card. Thank you so much. So let's make the blessing, and I'm going to hold it up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu hafresh Challah. Okay, and now we have a special prayer in English. Would anyone like to read it in English? Anyone?
The one right below it.
Right here.
Oh,
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll read it.
Okay. I'm gonna Malka.
May it be your will, Creator, source of all life and blessing, that the hollow separation I perform this day be pure in seed and intention. May the elevation of this hollow gift be considered the truest offering of my heart. Just as the giving of challah to the Kohen in temple times serves as an atonement for the individual, so may this offering serve to renew and awaken me and to reconnect me to your light. May the gift of challah empower me and my loved ones to find joy and meaning in the oasis that is Shabbat, and to be imbued, how do you say that word? Imbued and sustained with His holiness throughout the week. May the spiritual influence of this challah gift build a home and a family that is centered on loving kindness and is continually nurtured and supported by the light of the infinite. And just as I offer this challah gift with the fullness of my heart, so may the heart of the divine presence be aroused to compassion and keep me, my family, and all the universe free from sorrow and pain always. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol. Welcome from Israel.
Thank
Wow. Welcome. Okay, so at this point, how many women are we here? Okay, so we're 9. Okay, so here's Yafa, if you could divide it by 10. I think it's about like 13 ounces. We usually do 12 ounces, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could do like 13 ounces or so. Okay. Okay, so we're dividing the dough and we're using a scale, which is great because it really gives you a perfect even amount for your braids. And anytime that you want to use, it's a great little $9.99 or something on Amazon. It's called a food scale.
It's great.
This one's great.
Yeah, I use it all
Okay.
the time.
That to you. And we'll start making challah. Should I stop right now and see if anyone has any questions before we begin? Myra, does anyone have questions? Ounces there. Myra, any questions? See, we have any questions on Myra is, but we will find it. Let's see if there's any.
I think the only question has to do with the rum.
Okay, what's the question, Myra?
There was a suggestion that you could heat the rum to remove the alcohol before using it in the recipe.
Yeah, if you do not want alcohol in the recipe, then you could heat the rum. Absolutely. You could heat the rum in the caramel.
But if you put hot rum in the dough, it's probably not good, right?
No, you don't need to heat the rum to put it in the dough. Absolutely not. If you want to burn it out, it'll burn out in the oven. It's not necessary to heat the rum. No. Okay? You still will get a little bit of alcohol. So somebody that's an alcoholic who's refraining from alcohol and it's very serious, I wouldn't necessarily serve this to them.
Right.
Because who knows, it might trigger something, but trust, it didn't do anything to me. No. No, I'm actually very sensitive to alcohol because I don't drink alcohol. So when I do drink alcohol, you know, the room spins. So I'm just saying, because I don't drink alcohol that much, it really, and the challah did nothing to me. So, except make me happy. Happy, exactly. Okay, any other questions before we begin? Okay, we're gonna start to, so ladies, ladies, there's extra, you could roll it out with rolling pins. That's what I like to do. And, okay, and I'm gonna make, while you roll out and make your challah, I'm gonna demo the challah to the ladies on Zoom, okay? Okay, so what I usually do, you know, woman, ladies, I have people on Zoom, so I'm just gonna, okay, so just let's use our library voices. Right? Okay, perfect, okay. So, I like to use King Arthur flour, good high quality flour. If you're gonna take the time to bake, then you might as well use all very high quality ingredients. Okay, now since I know that this recipe is going to take at least a 5-pound bag, probably more, I do not have to measure it. Okay, I do not have to measure it, so I'm just making a well. Here, I'm gonna lower it like that so you can see. How's that? Okay. I'm gonna make a well with like 3/4 of the bag. And in the middle of the well, I'm gonna put everything in the well. Now, usually the recipe starts with the yeast, but because I'm demoing it, it's gonna take much longer. The yeast will get ready much quicker and I don't want it to become rancid. So we'll put the yeast on the side and it's 1.5, let's see, it's 1.5 cups of sugar. Okay, and here we have, just give me 3 minutes, ladies, just give me 3 minutes so I could make them. Okay, I like to use, again, unrefined coconut oil, a cup of that, and then I'm gonna keep some for later as well. Okay, put that in. I like to use like a 10-quart bowl with a nice large spoon. Put it in the middle. Okay, I have 5 teaspoons of salt. I like to use sea salt, but it's table salt, which is fine salt. This is pre-measured. I'm just putting that in. Okay. I'm gonna do a cup of coconut milk. So usually in my recipes, I have 4 cups of flour. Sorry, 4 cups of liquid, which is usually water. But in this recipe, it's gonna be 3 cups of water and 1 cup of coconut milk. So I'm gonna use coconut milk right here. Put it right in there. So we have our sugar and we have our oil, we have our salt. Now let's get to eggs. Okay. Take the eggs. I'm gonna close them soon, okay? Okay, so here's the eggs. Make sure to check your eggs for blood spot. Usually on these eggs are fine, but on organic eggs, you will find blood spots on the yolk. And because blood is not kosher, you want to make sure that each egg is done individually. I'm kind of living dangerously here and putting them all in to one bowl, but you're supposed to do it one at a time. But hey, I'm not using organic eggs, so I think I am okay, and I am. So 6 eggs. I'm using 5 eggs now because my son was hungry last night at 9 o'clock at night and he wanted eggs. So I made an omelet with 3 eggs and hence I only have 5 today. We're gonna need the eggs soon, actually, or egg wash. I don't know if we can just go get eggs. Okay. So it's 4 eggs. So going through the recipe, I made a well with remember to spray it. Spray the, okay. So I have a well with the flour, the sugar, the coconut oil. I have the eggs, the salt. I have coconut milk. I need to put 1 cup of warm water. Okay. But I also need thank you. I'm gonna put, this is my little secret that I like to put into a lot of my challah recipes, and that's vanilla extract. We're gonna put 4 teaspoons of vanilla extract in here. Okay, excellent. And we're almost done. We're going to put, here's the rum, 3/4. Yes, high gluten flour is really bread flour. Bread flour has a lot of gluten in it. Yeah, but you can't, yeah, high gluten flour is great. Gives you a nice fluffy dough. I'm gonna put 3/4 of a cup of rum. Yum, smell it, delicious. Okay, 3/4 of a cup of rum. Where did I get this? I got that at Hampton's Liquors. And now I'm going to get another cup of water. It's going to be nice and tepid, like baby bath water, not too hot and not too cold. Not hot enough to cook the eggs in there, not too cold to stunt the yeast. Okay, I'll be right back. Get a little bit of hot water here.
Dinie?
Yes.
There's
Just getting
some
my water. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Okay. More flour, yeah.
Okay. Okie doke, here's my water. Now once I get all the ingredients in, and while I'm mixing and kneading, I'll answer the questions, okay? I just want to get this going.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, unless it's an emergency question right at this moment. Okay, here I have 3 tablespoons. I have 3 tablespoons of yeast and 1 or 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. 2 cups of nice warm water. I'm going to put it into a bowl like this. Okay. Now the dry yeast, activates very quickly. I find really quickly, within minutes, it's already bubbling. So yeah, so we want like about, I would say about 1/2 cup of boiling water and 1.5 cups of regular water would be good. So, okay. My daughter Malka is putting that together. Okay, I'm gonna actually put too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has to be like water that you'd put a baby into. Tepid water, like 115 degrees Fahrenheit about. Up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, not more. 105 to 115. You need to, well, here. Okay, it's not exactly 2, but that's fine. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Malka. Perfect. Hey, Jackie. Okie doksies. Okay, we're gonna wait for 2 minutes for it to activate. I'll take questions now. Myra,
Okay.
I'll take questions.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. So ladies, I'm gonna take questions from Zoom. Ladies.
Yeah, it's
I'm taking questions from now.
okay. So first of all, people are asking about recordings, and I answered that in the chat. But there's questions about the water. Somebody said, "Did I hear 3 cups of water and 1 cup of coconut milk?" And
Yes. Let me answer that question. In total, there are 4 cups of liquid in this recipe. Okay, but we separate them. 2 cups with the yeast, 2 cups into the well, okay? 1 cup of water and 1 cup of coconut milk. Usually in the recipes that I make, it's 2 cups of water in the well, 2 cups of water in the yeast equals 4. But because it's a coconut themed challah, we used 1 cup of coconut milk and 1 cup of water in the well and 2 cups in the yeast. I hope that
Okay.
answers the question.
It does. Next question, which you may have answered, it's about high gluten flour, like Glicks.
Yeah,
Have you ever used
so usually bread flour has more gluten in it. That's why I do use bread flour, because if there's more gluten in it, you get a fluffier bread. So years ago, I remember like when I was making challah, like in Brooklyn, they have like special flours for bread that have gluten in it already. When I came here, I didn't find that. So I was actually in a health food store. I was actually buying gluten and putting it into my flour to make my dough fluffier. But now we have bread flour. So bread flour is perfect. It has the perfect amount of gluten that you need for your bread. So there's no reason to add gluten because bread flour does it for you.
Okay. Can we use half whole wheat flour and half white flour, or all whole wheat flour?
No, definitely not all whole wheat flour. See, this is a situation with it. We have recipes for all whole wheat. We have recipes for half and half. This recipe was created and tried and tested for bread flour. If you want to take it and make it whole wheat, you can, of course. It might just come out delicious, but I don't know because I've never made it. This recipe is with regular bread flour, but you're more than welcome to try it. Whole wheat, Yalka, what do you think? Whole wheat with this?
Half and half.
Definitely not whole wheat, but you can try half and half.
You know what's really good? The white whole wheat.
Well, there is King Arthur. King Arthur makes white whole wheat flour. You can try that.
Okay, last question. Is coconut oil liquid or solid?
Good question. Depends on it depends. It's both. You can buy it liquid. You could buy it solid and then it becomes liquid, because in the stores it's usually colder, so it'll look whiter. And then in the home it's warmer, and so then it'll be more liquidy. Like in the summer, this was liquid, like clear liquid. Now that it's cooled up, this has turned more white. But it's both. Coconut oil is coconut oil. This is organic virgin coconut oil, unrefined, cold pressed. But you can have coconut oil, any coconut oil. Just make sure it's unrefined. And it's 100% coconut oil. Is that it? Hello,
Yes,
let's
that's
see
it.
who's there.
That's
Let's see
it.
who's there. Hi, ladies. Okay, now our yeast is perfect. Okay, so we already put in a cup of coconut milk, and we already put a cup of coconut of water. Now we're putting 2 cups with the yeast. Okay, and let's see if I can get it all. Okay, this is what it looks like now. So let me try to get this right. Okay, I'm mixing it. And as long as I can mix it without putting my hands in, I will. Okay, as you know, when it's just getting too difficult and you just have to get your hands dirty. And when that happens, I'm going to hand it off to somebody. Not because I'm trying to shirk responsibilities or anything, but I want to show you the caramel. What time is it? I just want to make sure we're on. What?
10:40.
Okay, perfect. Okay, here we go. Mix. At this point, the spoon is fighting me a little bit. I have to do Okay. Now, honestly, this recipe calls for more than one bag. Okay, it's a little more. I would say you need another cup, but don't put the whole cup in. Just put it in slowly. You can always add flour, but you can't take out. If you put too much flour in, that's it. Okay, I'll get messy there. So now from this point, it's 10 minutes of kneading. From when you get your hands dirty, it's 10 minutes of kneading. Okay. Now, usually, I'll take that. I usually like to knead on a table, which is lower, like 36 inches.
Yeah.
This is a little higher. That's too high.
You want me to pour some more?
Yeah, you can pour the rest, all of it. You can pour it on my hands or around. Yeah, it's a great workout.
So how many challahs did you make to try it? Like how many
Actually,
tries?
I got very lucky with this recipe because, thank you, Malka. A few years ago, we made a coconut almond challah, which was incredible. Remember, it was with the almond paste. We froze it and we shredded it. So what I did was I referred back. See, this is what happens when you're doing this for 8 years, right? You can actually. So I went back to that coconut almond recipe and I looked at it and I kind of worked off that and tweaked it for this recipe. So this recipe obviously is different, but I worked off that, and because of that, I didn't have to try too many times. I actually tried once and then decided we needed to put more rum, but didn't make it again. Just so a good way of.
So how much did you add rum? Like what was the original and how much did you
Well, originally I put in a half a cup of rum.
add? 3/4?
And now I put 3/4. So from here on, best way to knead, I find, is to take from the out and go in. Take from there. Don't just, okay? It's so funny.
You worked out for the day.
Yeah, you work at it. Okay, now, this is a sticky dough. Don't think it's not. But, at some point you're like, okay, I'm not adding any more flour. I'm just gonna let it go and cover it with coconut oil. Okay. I'm gonna need more flour, please. It's in the, the truth is there's a bag here. There's a bag here, and there's a little more there. I'll just finish up all the flour. Got a good feeling. Just finishing it up. Okay. Sorry.
So if you throw in a little leftover regular flour. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. A little, if I have like a little bit of all-purpose flour, I'm not going to open up a whole new bag of bread flour, that for that one extra cup.
Right.
Okay, I'll take a little more. And I'm going to hand this over to someone who's going to finish up so we can do the caramel sauce. Any takers? Sari? Oh, yeah, Fern? Okay, so great. So this is what it looks like. What would you say, 2-3 minutes in? Okay, before and after. You do not want to see this. Maybe a little bit, but after 10 minutes of kneading, it should be kind of smoothish and pliable. See, this is not pliable. I once said that and then I regretted it. So, no, I'm glad you said it.
Obviously, I know what that looks like.
So, I'm going to hand this over to Fern, and we're going to do the sauce. Okay, I'm just washing my hands. Any questions? Myra? Sorry, we're going to
No. Just that the oil that you're putting in there is liquid.
The oil that I'm putting there is liquid, but
Yes.
it might
Just to
not.
confirm.
It might not be liquid. If it's very cold in your house, it won't be liquid. It will be solid.
But how do you, does that mess up the
The
measurements or
measure it,
no?
yeah, just put it in.
Okay. And somebody else asked about how many cups of flour, and I urge them to look at the recipe.
So it's not, right, because this recipe is 1 bag plus,
Right.
okay? So it's 1 bag plus 1 cup or so. But you have to determine that once, it's definitely 1 bag. It's not less than 1 bag. So feel comfortable just continuously adding from that bag. After that bag, you have to start measuring. So measure 1 cup and sprinkle a little bit from that cup as you need, okay? And you should
Okay.
knead for 10 minutes.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Nope. That's it.
No? Okay, perfect. So now let's go on to the caramel. Like I said before, it's a delicious caramel recipe that you can use on anything, and it lasts in the fridge as well. So you could make extra and put it in the fridge and use it for dessert, over ice cream or anything that you'd like, over fruit or whatever you'd like. It's a great caramel recipe. You don't have to use the rum if you're using it for something other than this rum challah. But the caramel is 2 cups. Okay, so I'm just gonna. So this, it didn't harden. It didn't harden that much, but it will. It will. I'll take the other one. It will. So I made. Okay, so I'm thank you. I made this. I think it was Wednesday.
Plastic, it's not hot.
It is, but not that it's gonna really, like it is hot. So I made this Wednesday at night,
Wow.
and it was in the fridge,
Wow.
so it really hardened. You don't really want it like this,
No,
okay? Because you
no.
can't drizzle it,
Mhm.
okay? So this morning, the diva in the kitchen, Yafa, came with her daughter Rosie bright and early. What can I do to help? And I'm like, okay, take the caramel. And so she's been laboring it over it. You know, I doubled the caramel recipe. The original recipe is half of this, but I doubled it for the challah because I feel like for 8 challahs, you need about this much. And perhaps that's why it's taking longer. But the truth is that this pot is really hot. It needs to cool down, okay? But the caramel acts as a glue and obviously flavor for the challah, but a glue for the coconut. So what you do is you put your light brown sugar, or like I said, you can try coconut sugar. I didn't try it, but it's probably good as well.
Coconut sugar is very good. It's less sweet.
It's less sweet.
That's very good.
Very good, but it's less sweet. So if you want a less sweet, you could use coconut sugar, but I did cut the sugar in the dough because of the topping. Usually I put 2 cups of sugar. I put 1.5 because of the sweetness from the topping. Okay, so in a nice heavy skillet saucepan, you put the light brown sugar in for 1 minute, kind of mix it around, and you want to warm the sugar first. Then you add your coconut milk, stirring it. Did you put the salt in?
Not yet. I didn't want to cut across.
Okay, no worries. I have the sea salt.
This is salt.
Sea salt, perfect. And here is the sea salt. Oopsie. Stay there. Okay. Here's the sea salt we're going to add right now. Okay. A 1/2 teaspoon. Now you could do a 1/2 teaspoon to 3/4 teaspoon. Now, if you like that, salted caramel, that salted caramel taste, you could add a little bit more sea salt. But for this recipe, it's a 1/2 teaspoon. But if you really like that salty taste, put 3/4, but not more than 3/4. Okay. So where's my teaspoon? Here's my teaspoon. I'm going to add, I have coarse sea salt. I'm going to add it into the caramel, mix it up. And once, did you add the rum? The rum is in there? Okay, perfect. 2.5 tablespoons of rum? 2? Why? You're such a party pooper. She's getting, yeah. So we'll put a little bit more rum. Where's the rum? It's over here. Okay, thank you. Put a little bit more rum in.
So the rum only adds flavor, or you have to have it, you have to add it to make the consistency of the kind of caramel?
Oh, no, it has nothing to do with
It's
it.
just flavor.
Yeah, it's just flavor. Just flavor. But in the dough, the rum makes it there's like a nice moist, exactly. So that in the dough, the rum adds to the moisture in the dough.
Yeah.
And in the caramel, it's just simply for taste, for flavor. Okay? And so I'll just take one thing. I'll take one challah just to show. Thank you so much, Karen. So basically, this is a beautiful challah. What we're gonna do is we're gonna egg the challah, okay? And then we're gonna bake it. So once it's shaped, we're gonna allow it to rest for about 15 minutes. It'll rise a little bit. Then we egg it. You egg it right before you put it in the oven, because once you egg it, it does stunt its growth, so to speak. It's rising. And then when you take it out, okay, the first thing is that you shape it, you let it rest for 15 minutes, then you egg it, put it in a preheated oven, 350. And again, everyone always asks the same question, and I can't give a specific answer, and that's why I think I keep on getting the same question over and over. How long should I bake the challah? And that really depends on a few factors. It depends on your oven. I know this baby is very, very, very strong. I mean, it like zaps it quickly, sort of. Yeah. And this oven is not as strong. And so it really depends on your oven. It also depends on how large your challah is. But one thing I can tell you is never over bake challah. Literally by 5 minutes, you can change the taste. Like I suspect that the challah that we're gonna taste maybe was overdone, maybe like 2 minutes, literally. Like it's a very fine line. And so don't open the oven for the first 20 minutes. In general, right, professionals say when you're baking, don't open an oven for the first 15 minutes, okay? So I'm adding another 5 minutes to that rule. First 20 minutes, leave your challah. After 20 minutes, look and watch it. If it's brown on the top, then switch the racks, okay? And if it needs a little bit more time, another 5 minutes, but then you need to switch the racks, okay? And another 15, 20 minutes, but you really need to watch your challah. Basically, you should be able to like flip it over and tap it. It needs to be tappable. You need to be able to like hear it.
Like hollow.
It needs that hollow sound, exactly. But it really depends on how you like it, on your oven, and on the size of your challah, okay? Then once you take it out, I like to drizzle it while it's warm. Okay, so you drizzle it while it's warm with the caramel, and then top it with, either these toasted flakes or these toasted flakes. And I think I mentioned in the beginning of the class how to toast your flakes. But you basically, did I say how to toast it, or we talked about the different ones? I think we talked about the different flakes. These are chips, and these are flakes. What I did was I took a large cookie sheet, I put parchment paper on it, and I laid it out in one layer. I preheated the oven to 325, and I literally put a timer on every 5 minutes to check it. After 5 minutes, it was okay. After 10 minutes, it was done. But that's because it was in this powerful oven. In this oven on Wednesday night, it was more like 15, 20 minutes. So you need to check the coconut every 5 minutes, and you'll know when it's done. You want it to be nice and tanned, lightly tanned. Okay, so here's the original, and here is, so that's the color.
Beautiful.
Like a caramel color, really. Okay, and then voila. And have the challah. Okay, and ladies, if you want, you can wash. and taste it. It's really delicious. And like I said before, the taste is very balanced. Rum doesn't shout at you and coconut doesn't shout at you either. It's just really a great combination. Now, one other thing is what's very popular out there is rum raisin bread. So if you like raisins and you want to try it with raisins, just soak the raisins in the rum. Okay? So you just take a cup of raisins and soak them in the rum, in a half a cup or 3/4 of a cup of rum, and let it soak. I think you can do like the rum with some of the water also and let it soak. And let it soak. You could soak it overnight. You could soak it like for 2 hours and use the rum and the raisins in the challah. And then you have rum, raisin, coconut challah. But how does raisins go with coconut? Okay, yeah. That's like a granola, right? Yeah, okay. So you can try that. See, we're experimenting like on the clock here. Okay, ladies, wash for bread and please enjoy. Okay, ladies on Zoom, do you have any questions? You use yellow raisins? Cool, nice. You can soak them. I usually use the dark raisins. Anyone have any other questions? Myra?
No more questions.
Okay, what?
No more questions.
No more questions. Okay, thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining us on Zoom. And I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear how you like the recipe. And wishing you a beautiful and peaceful, healthy and happy Shabbat. And happy Hanukkah. Thursday night is Hanukkah. Join us for the incredible concert with Nissim Black and Ilan Gold. And every night we have something going on, so check Facebook and your email. All the best and Shabbat Shalom. Lots of love to you all.